Good morning, Math 1 students. This is Mr. Flynn, and today I'm going to be picking up on the note sheet that I gave you yesterday. I'll give you a clean one, but as you can see from my notes, these are all the same notes I put on yesterday, but what I'm going to do is just do the distance formula. And this is our distance formula right here that we're going to deal with, okay? And to find the distance between 2 points, so that's what we're trying to do. We're going to find the distance between this point and this point, okay? So either they're going to give us the points like they did here, or what they're going to do is they're going to give you a coordinate plane and you need to find the points. Notice we have an x2 minus x1, okay? So what that means in the x2 minus x1 is the x2 is just the x value of the second point. And then this x1 is the x value of the first point. And the same with the y2 and y1. The y2 is the y value of the second point, and the y1 is the y value of the first point. Now, the great thing about this is you're going to have these formulas in front of you. All you do is just plug in the numbers, all right? Let me show you how it works. I want to find the distance between these 2 points right here. So if that point 2, 3 was on a coordinate plane, and the point 6, -1 was on a coordinate plane, and I were to draw a straight line between those 2 points, I want to find out what is that distance. All you do, let's make it simple. We just call 1.1 and 1.2. I always write that on there. Once I know those 2 points, I write that on there because you're always going to be dealing with the first point or the second point. And then all we're going to do is use it with this formula. So the distance between the 2 points equals the square root, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, and we'll have x of the second point, which is 6, minus x of the first point, which is 2, and then we square it. Don't do any work yet. We're just going to put all the numbers in. We're going to punch everything in. We're going to add that to, we're going to have the y of the second point, which is -1. So here's, you got to be very careful with your positive and negatives. And then we're going to subtract the y of the first point, which is +3. We're going to subtract 3. And we're going to square that. So to do this, to find this distance, all we're going to do is go inside. Let me do a different color so we can kind of see how it works. We're going to do what's inside parentheses here. So I'm going to do the square root again. So I write this all out. Use my parentheses. 6 minus 2 is 4 squared plus -1 minus 3. Use your calculator. Hopefully you have the Calculate 84 app on your iPad or a handheld calculator. That's -4 squared. Now again, I'm going to simplify because I want to find what the distance between 2 points is. So 4 squared, if you know that, that's 16, and that's all underneath that square root sign. Okay, we're going to add, all right, and then -4 squared is also 16 because it's -4 times -4. And then I'm going to add those together, and I get the square root of 32. And I don't know what it says right here, but on most cases we're going to round for right now. And we're going to round to the nearest tenth. All right, so we need to do the calculator. All right, so take out your calculator. If we do the square root of 32, all right, let's see what we get. So the square root of 32 gets me, you should end up getting a long decimal, 5 point, I have 65685, and it goes on. But we're going to round to the nearest tenth. Now here, again, is just a little reminder of how to round. We have to find the tenths place, which is 1 place after the decimal. Check to the right. If that is 5 or above, we'll add 1 to the tenths place. Okay, so since it is 5 or above, we're going to add 1 to the 6, and we're going to get 5.7. Now, if this was feet or inches, we would put that on there. So the distance between these 2 points, the 2 points up here, is 5.7. Okay? Pretty simple. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to pull up the worksheet that I gave you. All right, let me pull that up. Not there. Let's see. Let's go back here. Go back, and we're going to do distance formula right here. So this is a PDF. I'm just going to do problem number 1 and number 2. But the difference is we're not giving you what the points are. So we have to figure out what these points are. So let's figure out this point here first. That is 1 in the x and -3 in the y. Remember, we start here, go 1 to the x and down 3, so that's -3. All right, so that's 1 point. So let's get rid of those. We don't need that anymore. So let's find now the next point, which is in the x over 5, down 1. So in the x, it's 5. In the y, it's -1. So those are our 2 points that we're going to deal with here. All right, no problem. But what's probably best to do, and I should have started with this, is always write the formula that you're going to use at the top of the page. So since we're doing the distance formula, we're going to write d equals the square root, parentheses, x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So all we have to do now is use that formula, call one of these points 1, one of these points 2. And it doesn't matter which order you do them. You're going to get the same answer if you do all the work correctly. All right? So let's go in. Let's do it in green now. So we're going to write the distance equals the square root. Make a long one. So now we're going to take x2. So the x2 is 5. That's the x of the second point, minus x1, which is x of the first point, square it, plus, parentheses, y2, which is -1. Now here's where it gets tough. We're going to subtract the y of the first point. We're going to subtract -3. So see, I have up here, I have a minus and negative. That's important that you guys understand how to do those, all right? Let the calculator do your work. So let's simplify. 5 minus 1 is 4. That's squared. And this is all going to be underneath a square root. We're going to add. Now, punch in -1, hit the minus sign, hit -3, and you're actually going to get 2. You're going to get a positive 2, okay? So, and we square that. So we know that 4 squared is 16. We know 2 squared is 4. And we still have to do the square root of that. And 16 plus 4 is 20. And the square root of 20. Now, take out your calculator. Clear everything out. Make sure it's ready. Do the square root of 20. And I get 4.4721. It continues. And again, it says round to the nearest tenth. So if we go back to that, here's the 10th place, check to the right. That is 5 or above, so I'm going to add 1 to the 10th place. So this becomes 4.5. And again, we're not talking about feet or inches, but if we were, we would put that on there. Good thing, check all the way at the bottom because I have the key here. It's not too hard. And here we go, 4.5. We got it right, okay? So all you have to do is figure out the points. So find the points, then plug into the formula, and then solve, okay? So we're gonna do number 2. Let's do number 2. Follow along if you can, or you know what you can do is you can do it first and then like pause right now, do it first, and then come back and see if you can do what I've done, all right? So I have this, here's number 2. I need to find the points. So here's 1 point. If I come from 0, x goes to -4, and then down -3. So that point is -4, -3. Okay? So I don't need that anymore. So now I need to find the other point. I just start again here, go back 2. That's negative 2 in the x, positive 2 in the y. So this is negative 2 in the x, positive 2 in the y. All I need to do is call 1.1 and 1.2. It doesn't matter which one is which. Follow your formula because you have it up here at the top. All right, until you have it memorized, just keep looking at it. Always make sure you're putting the stuff in the right spot. So I'm going to do the distance equals a big square root, open parentheses, x2. So x of the second point is negative 2, minus x of the first point is negative 4. That's that minus a negative again, all right, and we square that, plus parentheses, y of the second point, which is 2, minus y of the first point, which is minus 3, and we square that as well, okay? So now we just do the work. Again, I'm going to just be very adamant here to tell you, you need to do parentheses, and you need to show your work, whether it's on a calculator and then write it out. Please use your calculator. So punch in negative 2 minus negative 4, and you're actually going to get a positive 2. And you can get that squared. Okay? Then we're going to find 2 minus a negative 3, which is a positive 1. And don't forget, this is all being squared. Okay? No problem. 4, 3, 2, negative 2. Let's see what we get here. Oh, I think I made a mistake. Help me out. Let's go back. I want to do a little erasing right here. Because I'm doing it in my head and not my calculator. 2 minus a negative 3 is actually 5. So if you pause and then saw me doing this and got scared, that was my mistake. Okay? So now let's go from here. So 2 squared is 4. 5 squared is 25. 4 plus 5 is 29. And now we use our calculator again. All right? I'm going to be careful this time. So 29, the square root of 29 is 5.38516. It goes on. We'll round to the nearest tenth. So here's the tenth place. Check to the right. Is that 5 or above? The answer is yes. So we add 1 here. So it becomes 5.4. And now, let's see if I corrected my mistake. Let's go down to number 2. Let's see what we get. Yeah, 5.4. I got it. All right, that's all you need to do. Practice, find the points, use your distance formula. That's all it is today, okay? I'll give you another formula tomorrow we'll work on, and another formula the next day, and we should be ready to go. Hope you're having a good day. Stay